The thing that I wanted to talk about today is a question that comes up on occasion from folks, and that is, why did I change all of my handles online? And for those of you who've been following me for a while, stepped on a rock there, you will have noticed that I changed everything from my real name to a different name right after I went to grad school. And part of that was I took my ethics class. And also I went to a school that was largely tech phobic. They are not big on technology. Ethical guidelines for therapists say you can't have cross relationships. And a cross relationship is a relationship that you have with a client outside of the therapy office. And they are, depending on your community and who you are, where you're at, largely discouraged. It causes confusion for the client. There's power differential. In short, they're discouraging you from being your client's friend. And because the therapeutic relationship is often damaged if you are having cross relationships. Now, if you are in a small community, oftentimes you have cross relationships. Cross relationship can be something like you go to the grocery store and your client is your cashier. Or, as has happened, I had several coworkers who were cashiers. So, they'd be working at the Whole Foods and a client would come in. And the client just wouldn't know what to do when they would see their therapist as their cashier or stocking the shelves or, working at another place other than being a therapist. And so that's a cross relationship, just sort of like a dual relationship where you see your client outside of the therapy office, and then you have to spend time in therapy talking about the fact, hey, you saw me at my other job, or hey, you found me online. And oftentimes it's confusing for the client. They don't really want to know what to do. We have guidelines on what we do as therapists when we run into a client. And for me, my ethical guidelines basically say I can't say hi. If I run into a client or a former client or anything like that out in public, I can't say hi until the client says hi to me. And it's a little different now with the kind of work that I do because it's not strictly therapy. Now I do after-school art programming for kids, and it's considered community-based therapy. And it's an arts program based in therapy. So it's got this component that is therapeutic, but it's not actually therapy. So I'm not these kids therapist. I'm not the artist therapist. I am an art therapist, but I'm not their therapist. So it's a little different now. Now, if I see one of my students out and about in public, I can say hi. It's a different sort of ethical guideline than what I had before. And trains come in. Basically, things have changed a little bit in terms of what I can and can't do online. And so because the ethical guidelines are kind of 10 steps behind where technology is, and also where the students were. Granted, so I started grad school almost 10 years ago, graduated 3 years later, and I think in terms of like where it was back then, it was really kind of like anti-technology, anti-social media, which a lot of my classmates and I had used to great effect. Many of us were professional artists. Many of us were professional musicians. A lot of my classmates had, successful Bandcamp, profiles and things. And we were all kind of we were encouraged, not necessarily instructed, to get rid of our social media. And for someone like myself, who had put forth a great deal of effort to make sure that everything that could possibly lead to me led to me. I'd done a lot of work making sure that social engines, search engines, and social media, all of that led back to actually me. And I did a lot of work towards that. So a lot of my efforts to kind of sanitize my online profile was wasted effort, because I had done, I just started working on online things like the blog, Comfortable Shoe Studio. I started in like 2003. I started blogging in 2002, 2003. Actually, before that, I think it was 2002 or 2001 when I started actively blogging on a whole assortment of different platforms. And then Comfortable Shoes Studio, the actual blog, came about in 2003-ish. Maybe earlier. I don't know. Anyway, but because I'd done so many years of work, I had over 10 years worth of online work. When it came to sanitizing that, you can't wipe out 10 plus years of work on search engine optimization, on social media. I'd been on LiveJournal, MySpace, I'd started Facebook, Twitter. I'd done a lot of those things from the start. And so going through and changing my name on everything to Elsie Harper, which is a handle that I picked up in high school based off of a typo when I played softball. Anyway, like that, it didn't work. Clients were able to find me. And here's the thing, as a therapist, clients are going to Google you. And good for them. They should be looking at your health grades. They should be looking at reviews, and should you follow your therapist online? No, because it's a weird dual relationship and you see a side of them that makes them question it. And if I find clients, and even students to this day, if I find clients have found me online, I block them. And this is something that I let my clients know from day one. Back when I had individual clients, I would say, if I see you online, I will block you. We live in similar communities. I was servicing clients when I moved to my workplace, to closer to where I live. I let my clients know, hey, we live in similar communities. We live not far from one another. And if I see you online, and in the local online forums, I will block you. And it's not because I don't like you as a person. It's not because of anything like that, but it's because of the ethical guidelines that I have to follow. And I do it for every single client. I let them know that from the start, and yet clients still find me. And especially now that I work with kids, kids and teenagers have a very different relationship with social media than older people do. And that is 100% to be expected. And yeah, so anyway, that's why I changed my name online. I know it was a little weird for a lot of people who had known me by my real name for many, many years. People were kind of taken aback by it. I know that there were some rumors about it. And I did get married, which was one of the things that I've had a couple of people tell me is like, oh, well, I thought I knew you were getting married, and I just figured that that's why you changed your name. No, we didn't. We chose not to change our names. We kept our original surnames, if you will. So I am still Leslie Herger. I didn't change my name when I got married. I just changed it online for ethical guidelines. And kind of protection, which didn't really work out, but because people just find me anyway. So anyhow, that's an answer to that question about why I changed my name online. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye.